Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, college football fans across the nation and around the world. This is Tim May with yet another Tim May show. And boy, am I honored. I'm going to get right into it. I'm honored to have these two co-pilots on with me. I don't know which one's going to grab the yoke first, but Daniel Sanchez and Deidre Sanchez, father and mother of big-time recruit Devin Sanchez. That was hard to say all in one sentence, as you noticed, Mr. and Mrs. Sanchez. But welcome to the Tim May Show.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Like I said, as we were talking before the air, I grew up in East Texas in Lufkin. And as I was saying, I don't think I'd want to live there in the middle of the summer. You guys are living there in Galena Park area, Channelview area, right? And where your son plays at North Shore High School there. When I was growing up, that was already a big-time powerhouse area for high school football. And, of course, we know Channelview right down the road there from you guys. I think it's where Jalen Hurts went to school. I've got buddies that grew up in that area. And all North Shore has done is play for the division or Class 6A Division I state championship, 3 or 4 years in a row? Correct me.
Yes. It's the fourth year now. Well, hopefully it'll be going into the fourth year.
Yeah.
If everything goes right for these guys. So, we need to get back on the win track. But yeah, really proud of what those guys have done over the last few years over there. All the coaches and the young men, they work hard and, they continue to do their thing. So, again, we're real proud of them.
Yeah. I was going to say, though, that is a run, no matter where you are, ladies and gentlemen. 6A Division I football in the state of Texas is better probably than, now I'm not going to say that out loud. It's better than probably a lot of smaller college football programs out there. But I think y'all would agree with me on that. Deidre, by the way, welcome to the Tim May Show. Before we get any further, as much as I respect what your husband does for a living, I do believe the speed comes from your side of the family. Am I right when it comes to Devin Sanchez?
I won't take all the credit. Daniel did run track, so he gets a lot of his athleticism from him as well. So Devin is truly blessed from both sides of the family.
Yeah, I was going to say, but you ran track at University of Texas El Paso.
I did.
Daniel, you played football. Did you run track also at the University of Texas El Paso?
No, I didn't there. Just play ball, but like I said, yeah, that was it for me. Wasn't fortunate enough.
Yeah, gotcha. I got you. I mean, but I tell people about. I don't mean to dwell too much on Texas, but once you've lived in Texas, you're a Texan. And even though I've lived up here for 48 years now, going on 48 years now, but Galveston Ball, where you're from, that was a big time name back when I was growing up, man. And big time football players came out of there. Now North Shore produces these players, and yet there's your son. Both of you folks, there's your son sitting there, basically as highly ranked as almost you can get in the nation, much less the state of Texas. And I'm just wondering, from what I know of him and have heard him speak and things, he seems about as level-headed a young man with those kind of accolades as you could be. And I was wondering, starting with you, Deidre, first, has he always been that way? Have you guys always basically enforced that he be that way? Where did that come from?
I think it's something that we've kind of always enforced. Always be humble and always understand that this is something that you've been blessed with and also can be taken away from you. So always be grateful for, your talents, everything that, people give you or offer you. So when someone is taking their time and offer to, ask to speak with you, give them that grace.
Yeah.
Don't ever think you're too big or too famous to speak to just the little people, as people will say, but everyone deserves that grace. So I always tell them just to be humble and just, treat people with respect.
How about you, Daniel? I mean, obviously you've coached, you've helped coach him along the way and stuff. And you saw from an early age what kind of talent this young man was. How did you make those points with him?
kind of the same way, but different kind of aspect to it. Just kind of more with the ball side of it. Just again, being respectful to the game and realizing that football is it will set you straight if you don't have a level head. There's always somebody quote unquote a little bit faster, a little bit stronger. Guys are a little bit better. So we just try to look at things that way. Just continue to work and just get back to you give what you put into the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say football too. There's always somebody right around the corner ready to take you to the woodshed.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Hey, I think you folks just got back from Devin May's official visit, I think, to Ohio State over the weekend as we record this. And did y'all both accompany him, number one? And number two, starting with you, Daniel, what was your impression of Ohio State on that official visit weekend?
Yeah, we were both there with Devin. What we talk about the most is just these guys continue to just show us who they are. From all the way from the top, Coach Day, down to Coach Knowles, Tim Walton, and even some of the guys behind the scenes, Garen Duhart, you guys like Sam Petito.
Yeah.
They continue to be the guys that they, showed us they are from day one. So I mean, it's just always, what we know from these guys and what we come to expect, what we get. So that's probably the most the best thing that we can think of when it comes to the visit that we have with these guys. It's just these guys are super consistent.
Yeah, yeah. And Dietrich, you not only have a mother's perspective, but you have a former athlete's. Well, you're still an athlete. My wife always reminds me she's still an athlete. She was the Big Ten high jump record holder way back when, as I remind her. But you see it from kind of both angles too, right? I mean, and what was your impression? What's your impression of Ohio State, I guess, to this point?
Just to piggyback off what Daniel said, the consistency. We've been down there 7, 8 times maybe now. And from, like you said, from Coach Day down throughout the entire Woody, I always stand back and just watch their interaction with Devin because it's not about us. We won't be there. So I always just, take myself out of the situation and just watch how these coaches interact with my son every single time he's come. And it's always been consistent and always been preparing him for day one when he comes in January. So I'm glad that my son made this choice. I have no regrets. Every time I've gone there, I've felt nothing but love for us and for my son. And that's the most important thing, is that when I drop him off there in January, that my son is taken care of. And they've always shown that to us.
Yeah. What is it? I want both your opinions on it. What has it been like, though, to have a young man who really, if you look at it from this perspective, has had a dream scenario from the standpoint of anybody who was anybody in major college football wanted your son to come there, wants your son to still probably wants your son to come there, and play football for them. What is it like, and how did y'all help, I guess, guide him through the morass that is just offers attention, phone calls, heck, like this one even now. But how did y'all, I guess, what did y'all enforce on him from that standpoint of how to handle that?
Well, Tim, from day one, we had a list of things that we were looking for and what we expected from people. So every coach that we ever met with, ever talked to, we gave them those, we call it our blueprint. So Devin from day one knew what he wanted. He knew what he expected from the team, from the coaches, from the program. So we made it a point that no matter where we went, we were not going to waver from what we said our list was. And if anything was on that list or not on that list, it wasn't for us. So we just took those points and followed Devin's lead. He knew what he wanted in a coach. My husband has coached Devin since he was 3 years old. So I needed someone that was going to continue to coach him hard, and not show any favoritism towards him and be tough. You know, with him being coached by his dad, that's the hardest thing to do. So I needed my son to go into a college, go into school, and not and come out better than he went in. So if everyone got that same blueprint and people chose not to follow it, there was their choice. Coach Tim Walton, Coach Dave, they understood the assignment, and we've supported Devin from day one, and it's been amazing because we haven't had to fly all over the country to find the right school. He knew right away, so I'm happy with that.
Wow. Daniel, same thing. And, but then I'm following up, like I told you, before we ever, you know, when we went down this road to set up this interview, what's impressed me about you two is how involved y'all are from the standpoint of, you know, I see your tweets and retweets on X. Is that the way you say it? Tweets and retweets on X?
I still say Twitter. So
yeah, me too. I do too. I'm sure Elon does too, but that's another podcast, right? But
right.
You've been involved. I mean, you're not just involved in Devin's recruitment. I mean, you've been involved in, like, you know, almost kind of helping guide people, you know, young men, you know, to do the right things and all this kind of stuff. And why is that important to you? Obviously, because you're a coach, but I'd let you answer it.
But you know, it's just want to be around the guys with the same kind of mindset.
Yeah.
You know, not even, you know, not more than just the physical side. You know, it's more about the mental side. You know, where these young men are going. You know, so I mean that's real important to us. You know, not only, you know, what the coaches are like, you know, but you know, just the young men that he's going to be around as well. You know, just making sure that, you know, they got their mind on the business. You know, they're wanting to take care of their, you know, things academically. You know, just you know, that whole package. That's kind of why we're trying to be involved in the recruitment side. You know, and you know, and that involves the parents as well. You know, just making sure that, you know, they you know, they're aligned with the same things that we want, you know, there's, you know, for their sons, is, you know, that we want for ours.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, that's you know, that's why we you know, we kind of neck deep in this thing.
I also, just to answer that as well, I think that what I've always tried to do in this process is get back to the day where I know NIL is important to a lot of people, but get back to where NIL did not exist, and we start to teach our kids to choose the school for the right reasons, because I think that's what is causing a lot of the portal situations, because everyone's chasing the wrong thing. And I think that once you decide to get to know that coach in the room that you're going to be with, the head coach, that facility, that school itself, all the other things will come. And I think that's just something I try to help the kids and the families understand, because people always ask us, why was it so easy? Because we always took that out of the equation and not made that the number one factor, was the NIL. We wanted to focus on his relationship with Coach Walton or any of the coach that he possibly was going to be with. So that was the most important to us, is that this is the person that you're going to spend the next 3 to 4 years with when you're not with us. So I wanted to make sure that that coach understood what I needed from him, what I expected of him, and what I needed from my son. And that was important. And that's what I try to tell families when they do ask us what it is that drew us to Ohio State. And those were the things that was very important to those coaches as well. So they understood it, and it was touching to us.
Yeah, I want to get both of y'all's opinion on this, because y'all were both college athletes. Is it crazy what's going on now from the standpoint of, and I don't mean crazy in all a bad way at all. I mean, but I mean, I've advocated that players should share in the revenue almost as long as I've been a sports writer, because I know the sacrifices that are made. And yeah, they get a scholarship, and you know, 3 hots and a cot, as the old saying goes in the Army. Those kind of things way back in the day. But then, you know, they're what people come to see on Saturday afternoons, or, you know, in case of Ohio State, they'd like to play on Monday night at least once this year at the end. But you know what I'm saying. But I don't know. I want to get both y'all's takes on it. Starting with you, Daniel, on it's come on so fast, yet, Devin's in sort of that generation now that where NIL has been around going on 3 years now and stuff. And so he's kind of like sort of grown up with it now, but what is just your take on it all? And, is it crazy out there?
Personally, I think it's crazy as you make it. I
that's
think
good.
if you focus on the right things, and I try to keep it as simple as this. If you focus on ball, everything else is gonna fall in place.
Yeah.
So I think if you just like anything else, if you make it a surface, it'll be that. So not, yeah. I think that's what it is. I mean, to us, it's not crazy at all because I think we have the right. We're locked in on what it is we're focused on, and and that's why it's been nothing but smooth sailing for us.
How about you, Deidre? I mean, you wouldn't have mind having a brand new car at Texas El Paso, would you?
Of course I wouldn't, because I had to ride the bus.
There you go. That's what.
But these kids are blessed in this generation. But like Daniel said, and I said before, that was something that we didn't focus on, and we didn't want that to be the deciding factor for him. So with things being the way they are now, of course we have to embrace it. So it is crazy. It's kind of all over the place, which is also, I think, is what causes the confusion for these kids. So if there's no one that's level-headed and everyone is looking for that new car, then that kid is just as confused going. So when these kids don't know what they want, how to make the decision, it's so many that factor in, because as adults, we are sometimes confused with just daily life as well. So I can just imagine what they have to deal with on a daily basis, having to make this decision that's going to impact them. So we just want to make it as easy as we could for Devin. So, and that just goes with everyone. I think that if they just educate people and it not be this circus, I think things would just flow, smoothly.
Yeah. Sometimes when a big bomb goes off, you just got to wait till everything comes back down on the ground, right? And
right.
That's what the era we're living in right now. But I want to ask each of you this, because like I said, y'all were college athletes, spent a lot of sacrifice time, to your sport, much less going to school and stuff. Daniel, first with you, is what's going on now from the standpoint of the intent? Is it the right thing? Has it been a long time coming?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think I can answer it right now. Yeah, I think the intent is right. I think the execution is wrong.
Yeah.
Right now. But at the same time, I don't know if there's anybody in that's out there that's interested in cleaning this up. So it could be something that can get away from it fast. But personally, we like to kind of operate around here just like, just as quick as it came, it could be gone.
Yeah.
So again, without sounding like a broken record, focus on ball and everything else, kind of work stuff out.
Gotcha. All right. Do you agree with that, Deidre?
I do.
Yeah. Okay.
100%. Yeah.
I just want to get a quorum here. My last question. I'm gonna start with Deidre first, then I'm gonna get the guy who coaches football, his opinion. Past everything we've talked about, what a good guy he is, the era he's coming up in, why Ohio State was the right place for Devin from y'all's vantage point. Deidre, how good is he? I mean, you've watched a lot of youngsters play. I'm not trying to get you to throw him out there as the greatest ever, but where was that moment when you saw that your little boy, was a notch above?
Like I say, Devin's been playing since he was 3. His brother and him, they're 6 years apart. So when my oldest son started playing, he was 9. So Devin, he's very competitive. Even when he was 3, he was out there racing and beating some of the 9-year-olds. And I knew then that it was something special in him. But I've always watched him be competitive in everything that he did. You know, he started playing soccer with the neighborhood kids, and 2 days he was like, I want to play soccer because he was out there beating them. He learned how to swim. I took him to swim lessons. In 2 days, the guy asked us to put Devin on the swim team. Daniel said he is not a swimmer, he's a football player. So when he got to North Shore, he couldn't play. He had to play freshman. They wanted him to play on the varsity team, but I knew from an early age that as competitive as he was, I didn't think it was going to happen like this. This really came out of nowhere, to be honest, Tim. I did not expect it to blow up the way it did, but I always knew there was something special in Devin since he was a little boy.
Hey, by the way, Daniel, before you answer, remember there was a guy that played safety at Ohio State back in the 2014 realm, Von Bell. He was from Chattanooga, Tennessee. He used to swim. He used to swim the 50 meters or whatever it is, all the way without taking a breath. He was a natural swimmer, but he chose football, and he's been in the National Football League for a long time. Now, Daniel, with you, I mean, just when did you see that not only was he a great athlete, but that football could really be, you know, that specialty?
I'm probably a little bit different than Dietrich when it comes to it. You know, personally, I've been kind of pushing him to this for a long time.
Gotcha.
This is it, you know, trying to, you know, be as modest as we can about it. We've been training to get to this point for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, from a very young age, just, you know, noticed that the biggest thing, the ability to track the ball in the air. You know, he's pretty natural with his hips, and he's always kind of been like that as a young kid. You know, just take him through some of the routine, you know, just some of the basic stuff, and you know, in my opinion, I thought he did pretty well, and you know, we just kind of went from there with it. So it's been a long time. You know, he's put in a lot of work. You know, again, you know, he works very hard. You know, I know he may come across as a pretty out there guy, but I mean, you know, for the most part, you know, he's a really, really hard working kid. You know, I like he's got a little special lane to him where you know he's a pretty sly kid out there on the field, but he's got a lot of dog in it. You know, like I said, just a lot of natural ability. You know, you know, again, you know, he does his thing. I'm really proud of him and how far he's come. You know, again, you know, I can't say it enough. You know, the kid, you know, he pretty much lives out on the field. He's been like that. And, you know, he's a sponge to it. So I mean, you know, it's a natural thing. You know, and you know, he's taking full advantage of it, and you know, I can't be proud of him.
Gotcha. Well, ladies and gentlemen, or lady and gentlemen, I appreciate y'all joining me. Dietrich Sanchez, Daniel Sanchez, the parents of Devin Sanchez, one of the elite recruits in the country this year. And the last thing I'll leave you with is, since I know y'all live in Northeast, basically East Houston's really where the East Houston area, right just north of I-10. All I got to say to you is stay cool this summer, would you? I just got back from there, and
it was hot. It was hot in Ohio too. We were just there. It was 95 degrees, so it was hot there too.
You know what it's going to be tomorrow? It's going to be 75 here tomorrow, and it's
Wow.
going to be 95.
Serious?
Huh?
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought, are you serious?
I call it, the reason I stayed up here after I moved up here from Lufkin is I call this God's air conditioning. He will all of a sudden, middle of July, send you like a week of like nice temperatures, you know. But I told you, my baby brother, who's 66, still lives in Houston, and LaGrange splits his time down there. And I give him heck about it all the time. But man, I really appreciate y'all coming on the Tim May Show. I knew I was going to enjoy this, and I did, and hope y'all did too.
We did. Thank you. And just to speak of Lufkin, I grew up, I mean, I spent my summers in Nac. I spent a lot of summers in Nacogdoches.
Nacogdoches, full of roaches.
Yes.
Stephen F. Austin State University. Hey, have you ever been through Belleville, Texas, where they've got the head of Stephen F. Austin sitting in the middle of the road, this big, huge bust? You got to go by there one of these days. But wow, Nacogdoches. Wow.
Yeah, I grew up. I mean, I spent a lot of summers in Neck and some in Lufkin too, but yeah, my dad was in Neck. So
I used to-
I really did enjoy speaking with you, Tim. I appreciate it. No problem.
You got
Yeah,
it.
it's been a minute trying to work this out.
Hey, but it was worth it, right?
It was worth it.
We really appreciate having us.
Gotcha. Well, ladies and gentlemen, until next week, this is Tim May for Beecher Sanchez and Daniel Sanchez, mother and father of big time recruit Devin Sanchez. We'll see you next week.